Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Laura Marano about the royal treatment coming January 20th to Netflix. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. What a great intro. That was all in one breath. That was very, very impressive.
Thank you so much. I mean, you do a lot of interviews, you get used to it. This is pretty cool. I mean, tale of two interviews here. We have a movie to talk about, but we also have some music to talk about too, right?
I mean, honestly, this film, I wore a lot of hats. Not literally, but metaphorically.
Did you always know you were going to do both, or did it kind of just happen?
No, I honestly, actually, music was my first love.
Yeah.
But as a really young, in a way where, I think most young kids are like, we love music. I really, really did love music. I was always writing songs. But then I started acting when I was 5, and that kind of happened because my older sister did it. And I'm like, I want to do that. And so, I always wanted to do music and didn't have necessarily that way of getting into the industry until I got Austin and Ally, and that opened so many doors. But the royal treatment is honestly the first time that I have 2 songs that are featured in a project of mine that I'm not singing in the movie. Like, usually I've done this before in a movie or in a movie or a TV show where the songs I have are part of the plot. This is like just a regular song featured in the film that hopefully people think elevates the scene.
And what's a pretty cool thing too is, I don't know about you, but I watch so many amazing TV shows and movies and I'm like, wow, this song is so good. So I get my Shazam and I want to know, I pause. It's going to be cool when people kind of go in and they're like, the royal treatment, I'm excited to watch it. And then they Shazam the song, they Shazam, Dance With You. And they're like, wait a second, Laura Marano.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like music really, I think, can elevate a scene, and it can also not elevate a scene. So I certainly didn't want to have music included that didn't elevate the scene. So I feel very grateful that it all worked out really perfectly. But yeah, I do think if you were watching the film and didn't see any press of me talking about it or didn't really know me, I don't think you would know or think that the actress of the movie is also singing the song in the background, Dance With You, or Worst Kind of Hurt,
And it's interesting because Dance With You is out now, but Worst Kind of Hurt is actually going to be out, the single version is going to be out when the movie's out. So that's pretty cool as well, right?
So cool and so overwhelming. I've never released 2 songs so close to each other. And it only really happened because they're both in the movie. So I love both songs so much, and I'm excited for them to both be out in the world.
It's so awesome. One of the things I loved about the film, we're talking about the music, it's cool. It's like a challenge. It's like 2 things in one interview.
So many things.
I love how this film looks, Laura. This film looks so good. It's stunning. It's amazing. Could we just give it up to the cinematography team? Come on. It's...
Yes, John Cavell and our director, Rick Jacobson, freaking killed it. I loved our whole camera crew, our lights crew. I loved our whole crew, to be honest. Everyone was amazing. But can we just also take a second and talk about how beautiful freaking New Zealand is? New Zealand is unbelievably stunning. So being able to film, though, being able to work with Kiwis, the whole crew and cast, most of the cast are New Zealanders, and I am obsessed with them. Literally, they are all so wonderful.
It's so amazing. When people get a chance to see the film, the obvious answer to this question is you hope they enjoy it, but diving deep into it a little bit more, what are you hoping they get out of it when they watch it on January 20th?
On a very simple general note, I hope that it brings some joy. We do live in a world and a time right now that there is so much anxiety, frustration, sadness, all of the things that are so valid for what is currently happening. And I hope that this is a movie that people can escape in and really feel joy and watch with their loved ones and their family or their significant other, whoever, and just have a really good time watching it. But I do think we have a really awesome message within it as well. Obviously, it's a rom-com. We are not reinventing the wheel. It is a regular girl meets prince in a made-up country rom-com. And I'm very proud of that, to be honest. But also, it really does deal with individual roles versus family roles. How do you, pick between love and duty, your family and yourself as your own identity. I think it also deals with something that I feel very strongly and passionately about, that It doesn't matter who you are. You could be the prince of a made-up country. You could be a New York hairstylist. You can make a change in this world. So I hope people just are really happy and inspired and excited to watch the movie again after they watch it.
And it's interesting because you mentioned not reinventing the wheel in a rom-com. What's your mindset when you sign on for the project, knowing kind of that the rom-com has changed a lot too, and a lot of rom-coms I find these days are really kind of hinting and poking at the comedy aspect of things. Like, I feel like this movie has some funny jokes in it. Like, what's your mindset with it? Is changing a little bit. There's a lot more kind of funny, quirky moments in the rom-com these days. Do you agree with me?
100% agree with you. And in fact, I think with this film, I got sent the script back in 2019, and I really connected with the character, connected with the script. We worked on it a little bit before we sent it to Netflix, and then they liked it. But part of what we worked on and what are the things I want to do was add a bit more quirky comedy aspects, and two, kind of odes to this genre and odes to movies like this. So, we reference Genovia. We reference some of the other countries in the Netflix multiverse because they really are building a rom-com multiverse, like Aldovia and the Christmas Prince.
They are so true, absolutely.
You really are. Marvel, move over. Netflix is here. Netflix rom-coms are ready to go. But I think I really wanted to poke fun and pay tribute to rom-coms who have done this story before and have this genre, because I think that is also something I know people really connect to when they're watching. I think we don't really take ourselves very seriously in this film in a really great way, where we all just had a really good time making it. And I think that comes across. And so, rom-coms are changing, but rom-coms still have this classic aspect of them. I'm such a rom-com fan, and I obviously did The Perfect Date a few years ago. By the way, not necessarily obviously. I love that I threw that in there. You might not know, but I did a movie called The Perfect Date. The Perfect Date a few years ago. And that was, I think, kind of the first rom-com movie I had done. And it was so much fun. And so being able to do another one of those, A Cinderella Story was also kind of that aspect as well, Christmas Wish. But this, felt like a character that was a grown-up. I wasn't in high school, which is very exciting. And it just is a classic genre. It's funny, it's sweet, and it brings joy.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because you did mention, a lot of people will recognize you. One of your first kind of projects was Austin and Ally. And I'm just curious, when you're kind of working on a project like that, you're going in, it's one of your first projects and everything. Is your mindset when you're doing it, because a lot of people look at, Disney Channel and a lot of those shows as like the stepping stone. It's your first opportunity to get used to a set and everything. But for you, was it just like work? Like, what was your mindset when you were doing it? Like, did you think about the stepping stone aspect, or were you just kind of going in and working?
I think for me, because I had been acting for 10 years before I got Austin and Ally, I was grateful for a job. I was like, I'm just grateful to be working. Of course, I think for me, you do have, I grew up with Disney Channel. Everyone does. So, of course, there's like so much opportunity that comes with it and, gives you this amazing platform. But I was just so grateful to be a part of it. And then my gratitude just continuously increased because of the people I worked with. I think the number one reason why I wanted to do Austin Ally was the music aspect, being able to sing, and I wrote a song for the show. It was really one of the first things I could combine both of my passions together in one project.
And, we're talking about the royal treatment, but there's no shelf life for Austin and Ally with all the streaming services and the Vines and the TikToks. I said Vine. That's dating how old I am, by the way.
Vine still lives in our hearts, okay? It's still there.
But it's interesting how they're like Austin and Ally, you wrapped that like quite some time ago, but it's always still around, right? That's a cool thing too.
You're right, because of streaming services like Disney Plus, even I know other shows. My sister's show, Switch at Birth, was on Netflix for a little bit. Like, I think Netflix really did create that atmosphere of like nothing ever disappears, which is really nice. I have fans who are now 10, which means they maybe weren't alive when the first episode aired, which don't get to me in my complex of it.
That's crazy, yeah.
But they're now becoming fans of it, which is amazing. And you have fans who, watched when they were 15 and they're now 25, or watched when they were 17, 27, 30. So it's really cool. It does feel like it's never ending, which is nice.
And before we wrap up quickly, you look at the royal treatment and everything, and you look at a lot of the projects and a lot of the music that you're doing right now. What advice would you have for people that one day maybe want to do both? They want to act, they want to write, they want to produce, but they also want to perform music. Do you have any kind of advice for wearing many hats?
To be honest, I feel like I'm still learning on the fly. So I don't know if I'm necessarily the expert to give. Time management is so important.
Yep.
Having a team of people that you trust and that build you up and are, that complement the things that you lack is so, so important, and is an ever changing journey of figuring that out. And I think also, honestly, having the stamina for it.
Yep.
And really, at the end of the day, believing in yourself, as cheesy as that is, you're just going to have a lot of moments and times where people might believe in you at one point and then stop. And it's up to you to just keep pushing yourself and believing in what you want to do and believing in your passion.
I agree. And it's interesting too how things just kind of happen and change all the time too, right? Like in terms, yeah, I feel like when I started this, I've been doing this since 2015, but when I first started is like not what it is now type thing.
Oh, it's so changing, and that's so true with the film and television world, but especially the music world.
Yes.
You have to kind of roll with it and go with the times. It's like the wild, wild west. But that's part of why I love it. I think actually when I started being independent, it was quite a bit more challenging than it is now. It's still very, very challenging, but you have platforms like TikTok that I released a song back in September, and that before I did Dance With You, which has become my biggest song ever, which is crazy.
Congratulations, by the way. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. I Want to Know What It's Like. I released this song, I Want to Know What It's Like, in September, and I put no money into it. I had the song, fans just really liked it. I leaked it on TikTok. It did kind of well on that. And I was like, let's see what happens. Let's see how it does. And it did amazing for me at that time. And that was really impactful for me to see of like, here's something I didn't have to spend my own money and do. And it still came across by using a platform like TikTok.
Amazing. No, for sure. Laura, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Peter. You were so lovely.
So January 20th, like pretty soon, it's going to drop the royal treatment. And people can listen to your music wherever they listen to music, basically, right?
Yeah. Laura Marano, in case you watched this and you were like, who was this? Laura Marano, Worst Kind of Hurt comes out same day as the royal treatment, January 20th. Dance With You's already out, which is in the film as well. And I'm so excited for you.
And they can follow you on social media, Instagram, right? Twitter.
Yes, all the things. Follow me on Instagram at Laura Marano, Marano. Laura, not Lauren. Sometimes people think my name is Lauren. It's a whole thing. So very, very excited to have people watch and come along this journey with me.
Absolutely. This has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. For previous episodes, you're going to be able to catch Laura Marano in the royal treatment January 20th on Netflix. Until next time, this is Laura and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.